Okay.
How life is danger dad.
So like, how was your day?
It's really good today. I just sang a song for my supper. I stopped in at the lodge back there a little ways on the other side of the bridge, and I was going to stop in and see some people that I met there last year, but they weren't there. And now they use that place as a treatment center. So there was some people in there. I didn't know anybody in there. But I said, they still had supper left there, eh? So I said, well, I come to sing for my supper. Can I do that? And so they let me, So I sang them a song. And
What did you sing?
I'll sing the song. You want me to sing the song?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. This is going to be my drum right here. I learned some songs from a First Nations friend of mine, right? So I'll just sing it. This is kind of bad drum, but anyway. We are, 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 when I'm far away, when I'm far away, when I close my eyes, there you are, so beautiful to me. So, got me supper. That's the first time I ever sang for my supper.
That's great. It's like
Yeah.
it's some sort of like a wish song, or
It's like, the guy that taught us that song was from another place, eh? He was First Nations, but he was from another place. And so that's kind of like when he left us that song, eh? That was quite a few years ago. That was in the early 90s, I think. But, yeah, I never forgot it. So, good people there. A lot of elders there, First Nations, the elders. They're all passed now. I just found out tonight, the lady that was cooking there, a friend of mine, Margaret, she passed away 7 days ago. I didn't even know. So a lot of that generation is gone now. They were good people, really good people. But I miss them. I was kind of weird when I first came here. My friends were. I didn't have friends my age because I was fascinated with the people and the culture. And so I hung around with, 70, 80-year-old people, and they taught me a lot of things, right? Because I was like a sponge. Like I said, I was fascinated. And their children and grandchildren just wanted to party around and didn't really have the time to listen, and they were desperate for somebody to listen, and so I listened. So it's like I'm not First Nations, but it's like my son, he's half First Nations, and he tells his buddies, he said, you know what? He said, my dad's a better Indian than you guys. Because I listened, and so I know a lot of things, but
yeah,
I find myself in the same position as them now, the elders who taught me. Nobody wants to listen.
yeah. Is there some like yeah, like universal wisdom then that these people have?
Oh yeah, absolutely, like totally universal, and because this is where they sprung up from the ground. They're part of this. They're just like the trees, like the water, the fish, or the animals. On the other side of that mountain there last year, you know what I found over there? I found a mountain goat with a baby over there. There's no mountain goats around here for 100 miles. But there's, on the other side of that mountain, there's a rock face. It's perfect habitat for, you know what I'm talking about, white mountain goats, like the white goats, right? But somehow she's there, and nobody would believe me, and I wish I would have shut my mouth. I wish I wouldn't have told anybody, because then I thought afterwards, what if somebody goes over there and shoots him? But I heard a friend of mine said they survived the fire. They're still there. So, but that kind of stuff makes my day. But what I was going to say is, like, they're like the people I first met when I was here. They're like those. They were. It's like, you know, you can tell the difference even if a dog and a coyote are walking down the road and they're the same size, and you look at their tracks. You can tell the difference between that dog and the coyote, because the coyote, he's going straight where he wants to go. He's not dicking around and smelling this and smelling that. He's disciplined because he has to be to survive. You know what I mean? But a dog, he's not that way. He's just, you know, sort of, he can depend on us to live, right? And the people here, the old people, the elders, when I first come here, they were still like that. They were like that coyote. They knew what they had to do to live, and they had a discipline about them and a kindness. They valued other people because a long time ago they needed each other to live. They needed each other to survive. And nowadays that's gone. People don't realize that anymore. But if the whole fucking bottom fell out of this world, we need each other or we won't make it. You know? And I learned that from them. So.
Yeah, that's a good kind of like a piece of wisdom there, I guess.
You know, that's just like when, you know, when you and I were talking earlier, you know, I don't need that boat, you can have it, right? Because that's what's important to me, is other people. You know, the mountain's nice, the water's nice, the animals are nice, but for me, what's important, I hope that when I finally fucking kick the bucket and I'm not here anymore, that maybe I help somebody, you know? That's what's important to me. And they give me that. Those people, when I first come here, I was just a stupid kid when I come here. But that was 41 years ago. So hopefully I learned something. They were really nice people. Great people. Yeah, I miss them. Most of them are all gone now. No, I'm the old guy. I got 7 grandkids. I guess I'm an old guy now.
But you still got the strength to go picking, you know.
Yeah, I crashed. I had a little ultralight plane, and I crashed it. I still got 30 screws in my left leg. I still get around. It's kind of tough, but I love it in the bush. This is where when I'm out here, and then I'm happy. You know, especially if there's other people out here too. Yeah. So that's why I like, you know, being out here. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we have some sort of like similar like reasons to spend time in the bush, you know, because we go here like all the way from Europe and we just do this, you know, and it's like we love it, otherwise we wouldn't, you know. It's
And even where you're from, you know, long time ago, long time ago, your people used to be the same. You know what I'm saying? They were part of this. They were part of where they sprang up from, you know. They respected it, or else they wouldn't have lived. You can't, if you don't respect the land and the water and, you know, the earth, you don't live very long. You know, Mother Nature has a way of making you respect, or else get out.
well, hopefully, you know, but I kind of doubt that recently, you know, because like it's not like it's you know, it's a bit different in Europe, you know, because everything's kind of like more dense, and so you kind of you come to like doubt this a bit, you know, because you see people like fucking up with the nature like big time, you know. It's a bit different here, you know. The land is gigantic and you kind of like, you know, there's ways to go, but
I understand to a point, like I've never been to Europe, but I'm from a densely populated area where I come from. I come from southern Ontario, and Toronto, right across the river from Windsor, Detroit. Like I come from that densely where everything is owned by somebody. That's why I love it here, because when I first come here when I was a kid, you could go places nobody even been there before. You know what I mean? Like you can still find places where it's where the animals look at you. I was up north there, farther north than here, and this is a true story, I kid you not. We were hunting, and my son, he was 14, my oldest boy, and he wanted to shoot a caribou really badly. But we found a caribou, but it was too young. It didn't have enough, it wasn't mature enough to shoot. But he's half First Nations, but he could have shot it, but I just said, no, let's just play a game with it. Let's see how close we can get to it, So every time he put his head down to eat, we'd get a little closer, get behind something else, and get a little closer, get a little closer. Pretty soon there was nowhere else to hide. We were right up on him, So we just stood up, and we both had our rifles over our shoulder like that. And I don't know if it looked like horns sticking up or what, but we were walking away from it, and walked by it, and my son says to me, "Dad, look behind us." And here's this caribou just following us along, eh? It's like I'd never seen a human being before, I love that I love to experience that kind of thing, eh? Where it hasn't been spoiled, and, it's pretty cool. He won't ever forget that. I won't ever forget that either.
That's great. That's like a wonderful, like a lesson, to kind of like be able to connect, with some other like species,
The caribou was probably just using us, trying to survive, making a little herd so he can survive. I don't know, just instinct, but it was pretty cool. He was just following us, like a dog.
Yeah. Looking for a herd to...
like for some buddies.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun. That was a great trip. I just about didn't go on that trip because I was working and I was busy, and I thought, my buddy's just twisted my arm to go, because his wife was from up there, by the Yukon, and finally I said, okay, I'll go, and I packed up the family, and I told my boss I had to go. I said to take a couple of weeks off, and I'm glad I did, because that was just, the whole trip was like that, like the whole trip was like that. Just every day was just full of, and it's nice to experience that kind of stuff with your family, with your children, especially trying to teach them things. It's hard to teach them with just words, but when you can be out there and show them that. Like now, he's 33 years old now, and we were out mushroom. Oh, we were out in the bush, and he's like, his buddies were saying, they said to me like, "Oh, Willie's he's like a ghost. All of a sudden he's there, and then you look around and he's gone, and then all of a sudden he's there again." Because since he was like 3 years old, I had him out here and had him in the bush and sleeping under the canoe and along the river, and like that's one thing too. Like there's lots of grizzly bears and stuff out here. Even a black bear can give you trouble. But those elders showed me how to treat the animals, and 40 years I've had some bears chase me and stuff like that. But my ex-wife, she's First Nations, eh? We were married for 32 years, and she's about 5 foot nothing, and her grandpa was smaller than her. He lived till he was 116 years old, and I never met him, but one of her uncles told me that when he would come up against a grizzly bear, he seen him do it. A grizzly bear was coming down the hill there, just hollering and just mad, eh? And That little guy, he walked over towards that bear and he just started swearing at him every word he could tell him, just get out of here. I'm busy here. You just leave me alone. And that bear just finally just kind of, oh, man, and walked away. That's how they had their ways of dealing with, different animals. Black bear's different altogether. Black bear's got a small brain. He's not thinking like a grizzly bear. Grizzly bear thinks like us. And that's what the elders told me. They just think is just exactly like us. And you can talk to him just like you would talk to another human being.
I think it makes a big difference when you kind of deal with an equal or something like that,
Yeah, that's how a grizzly bear is. Black bear, they're more, if they're hungry, they're going to give you trouble. But a grizzly bear, he'll think about it. He'll look at you and think whether it's worth the trouble,
Yeah.
Different. Yeah. You just got to know, there's a lot to know. There's a lot to know out here. Like down there at that, you guys have probably seen this before, but how the people survived the harsh winters here was they built their houses, their winter houses, halfway into the ground. They dug up a hole about maybe 6 feet deep, and in a circle from here to the car, and then they braced inside with posts, and then they covered that with poles, and then they covered that with bark, and then they covered that with dirt. And after a couple of years, you couldn't even tell there was anything there. It just looked like a little hill. And that was for whatever, served a lot of different purposes, defense and different things. It was hidden, and but kept them warm.
Keeps the temperature.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. But so they taught me how to do all that kind of stuff too. So if things ever do I'm not worried if things, if there's some sort of worldly catastrophe. I'm not worried. I know what to do. But the thing is, you need more than survival skills. You need knowledge about, like what I said, we need each other as well, right? You need to know those things too, right? Because if you think you're going to survive by yourself out here, without other people, you might survive, but you're just existing. You're not living anymore. You know what I mean? So.
No la vedo interessante, non sé che